We're always curious. Where are you tuning in from? Whether it's small town or big city, let us know in the comments. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Foundations of Deception. Michael Carter gripped his steering wheel, his knuckles whitening as he pulled into his driveway. The familiar sight of his colonial-style house brought no comfort today. Something had fell off for weeks now. He grabbed his briefcase and stepped out of his Mercedes, noting Victoria's Audi parked at an odd angle. She was usually meticulous about parking perfectly straight. The garage door was also partially open, something she never allowed. Strange, he muttered, approaching the front door. The sound of hushed voices carried from inside, cutting off abruptly as he inserted his key. Victoria sat at the kitchen island, her phone face down beside her. Her carefully applied makeup couldn't hide the tension around her eyes. "You're home early," she said, her voice carrying an edge he hadn't heard before. "Market closed well today." Michael loosened his tie, studying his wife's body language. She wouldn't meet his gaze directly. "Everything all right?" "Of course." Victoria stood up too quickly, nearly knocking over her wine glass. "I need to check on dinner." "I'll do that," came Evelyn's voice from the doorway. Michael's mother emerged from the guest wing, her presence unexpected. She usually kept to herself during the week. Victoria's had a long day. Michael noticed the silent exchange between the two women. His mother's eyes lingered on Victoria with an intensity that seemed out of place for their usual relationship. "Mother, I didn't know you were joining us tonight. Can't a mother check on her family?" Evelyn's tone carried its familiar note of criticism. "You work such long hours, Michael. Someone needs to keep Victoria company." The words stung, deliberately aimed at his perceived failings. Michael had grown accustomed to these subtle jabs over the years, but lately they felt more pointed, more purposeful. He retreated to his home office, leaving the women to their conspiratorial whispers. As he settled behind his desk, memories of his childhood surfaced. His father walking out, leaving 10-year-old Michael to become the man of the house, while Evelyn lavished attention on his younger brother Ethan. His phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Need to discuss business opportunity. Dinner tomorrow?" Michael's jaw tightened. Ethan's opportunities inevitably meant requests for money, wrapped in grandiose promises of returns that never materialized. Yet Evelyn constantly praised his brother's entrepreneurial spirit, blind to his repeated failures. Later that night, Michael lay awake, listening to Victoria's measured breathing beside him. His mind replayed recent oddities, her sudden business trips to cities where they had no clients, expensive new jewelry she claimed were gifts from work, late-night phone calls she took in the garden. A notification lit up his phone, a credit card alert for a $5,000 charge at the Ritz-Carlton downtown. He hadn't stayed there. Victoria's card was linked to the same account. The next morning, Victoria left early, claiming a breakfast meeting. Michael watched her drive away, then made a call. "Sarah Collins Investigations," a crisp voice answered. "Ms. Collins, I need your services. Discretion is paramount." "Of course, Mr. Carter. That's my specialty." Michael detailed his concerns, keeping his voice steady despite the rage building inside him. Sarah listened without interruption, taking notes. "I'll begin surveillance today," she said. "You'll have preliminary findings within the week." That evening, Michael sat through another tense dinner. Victoria picked at her food, while Evelyn dominated the conversation, praising Ethan's latest venture, something involving cryptocurrency and real estate. "He has such vision," Evelyn gushed. "Not everyone understands innovative thinking." The implied comparison hung in the air. Michael maintained his composure, years of business negotiations serving him well. "Speaking of innovation," Victoria interjected, "I need to take a call. Potential investor." She slipped out to the garden. Michael excused himself moments later, ostensibly heading to his office. Instead, he positioned himself near the open window, catching fragments of her conversation. "Don't worry about him. Still trust me completely. Yes, everything's going according to plan." Michael's blood ran cold. The voice responding on the other end sounded familiar, but he couldn't place it. Days passed. Victoria grew more distant, spending hours on her phone or at meetings. Evelyn's visits became more frequent, her concerned glances at Victoria more obvious. Sarah's first report arrived via encrypted email. Surveillance photos showed Victoria entering luxury hotels at odd hours. In several images, she wore jewelry Michael had never seen, including a distinctive sapphire necklace he'd noticed in a recent credit card statement. Then came the photo that confirmed his suspicions. Victoria emerging from the Ritz-Carlton, straightening her dress. Behind her, looking furtively over his shoulder, stood Ethan. Michael stared at the image until his vision blurred. His own brother, his wife, his mother's strange behavior suddenly made perfect sense. She'd known all along. He pulled up their banking records, scanning recent transactions. Large withdrawals, offshore transfers, all under the guise of investment opportunities Ethan had recommended. The betrayal ran deep, a carefully orchestrated plan to bleed him dry while destroying everything he'd built. That night, Victoria announced another business trip. Michael watched her pack, noting how she slipped the sapphire necklace into her bag. "Going somewhere nice?" he asked, keeping his voice neutral. "Just Denver. Boring client meetings?" She didn't meet his eyes. "Funny, I heard the Ritz has excellent meeting rooms." Victoria froze, her hand hovering over her suitcase. "What are you implying?" "Nothing at all." Michael stood, straightening his cuffs. "Give Ethan my regards." The color drained from Victoria's face. "Michael, I can explain. Save it for the divorce attorneys." His voice carried the same tone he used when crushing business competitors. "I'm sure Ethan and Mother will be happy to console you." Victoria's composure cracked. "You don't understand. We needed to protect the family assets. You're too rigid, too focused on your precious reputation. Ethan has vision." "Vision?" Michael laughed coldly. "Is that what you call sleeping with my brother while stealing my money?" "It's not like that." Victoria's eyes darted toward the door. "Evelyn agrees." "Of course she does." Michael stepped closer, his presence dominating the room. "My dear mother never could see Ethan's faults. Tell me, how long has she been helping you plan this?" Victoria backed away, her carefully constructed facade crumbling. She just wanted what's best for the family." "The family." Michael spat the words. "Well, you'll all have plenty of time to be a happy family together. Once I'm done, you'll have nothing else left." He turned and walked out, leaving Victoria calling after him. His phone buzzed. Evelyn's number. He declined the call, adding her to his blocked list. In his office, Michael opened his safe and removed key documents. His laptop contained everything else he needed. By morning, he would begin dismantling the lives of those who had betrayed him. They had mistaken his success for weakness, his trust for foolishness. They would learn exactly how wrong they were. Michael Carter had built his empire through ruthless determination. Now, he would use that same ruthlessness to destroy those who had betrayed him, starting with his own family. Chapter 2: Shattered Illusions. Michael sat across from James Peterson in the attorney's private office, his expression carved from stone as he reviewed the documents before him. "This is indisputable?" Michael asked, his finger resting on a recently dated legal document. James nodded, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "The will was modified 3 weeks ago. Your mother has designated Victoria and Ethan as primary beneficiaries. You've been effectively written out. Show me the transfer records." James slid over a thick folder. "They've been busy. Shell companies, fake investments, offshore accounts, all carefully structured to appear legitimate." Michael's phone vibrated. Sarah Collins' name flashed on the screen. "Excuse me, James. I need to take this." "Mr. Carter," Sarah's voice was clipped professional. "You'll want to see this immediately. I've uncovered something significant. Come to Peterson's office. Now." 20 minutes later, Sarah spread photographs and financial documents across James's mahogany desk. Her investigative work revealed an intricate web of deception. "They've been planning this for months," Sarah explained, pointing to bank statements. Victoria and Ethan established multiple shell companies. Each transaction was designed to look like legitimate business investments. Michael studied a photo showing Victoria and Ethan entering a private bank. "The timing? That was taken the day after your mother changed her will." Sarah pulled out more surveillance photos. "They've been meeting regularly at various locations. The conversations I've recorded." She paused, gauging Michael's reaction. Play them. Sarah produced a small recorder. Victoria's voice filled the room. Once we've secured the offshore accounts, we'll move forward with phase 2. Michael suspects nothing. He's too focused on his precious company. Ethan's laugh followed. My dear brother always did pride himself on his business acumen. He never could see what was right in front of him. Michael's fingers dug into the armrests of his chair, but his face remained impassive. There's more? Sarah nodded grimly. They've been systematically targeting your personal accounts. Each withdrawal was timed to coincide with legitimate business transactions to avoid suspicion. The total amount? James consulted his notes. Approaching 8 figures. They've been thorough, using Ethan's connections to create a paper trail that makes everything appear above board. Michael stood, walking to the window. Below, Houston's business district hummed with activity. His empire, built through years of ruthless determination, had nearly been dismantled by those he trusted most. James, begin the process. I want everything documented, every transaction traced. Sarah, continue surveillance. I need to know their next move before they make it. What about your mother? James asked carefully. Michael turned, his eyes hard. She made her choice. Now she'll face the consequences. That evening, Michael drove to a storage facility on the outskirts of town. The unit, rented under an alias, would serve his purposes perfectly. Inside, he began methodically organizing documents, cash, and portable valuables. His phone rang. David Martinez, his closest colleague at the company. Michael, the board's asking questions. These rumors about financial irregularities. Handle it, David. You know what to do. They're saying Victoria's been making inquiries about company ownership structures. Michael paused. Has she now? Interesting. Keep me informed. He ended the call, a plan forming in his mind. Victoria and Ethan thought they were clever, but they never truly understood the depths of his strategic thinking. The next day, Evelyn requested a family meeting. Michael arrived at the main house to find Victoria and Ethan already there, seated like co-conspirators on the living room sofa. This has gone far enough, Evelyn declared, her voice carrying the authority she'd wielded throughout his childhood. Your paranoid investigations need to stop. Michael smiled coldly. Paranoid? Is that what you call discovering theft and betrayal? We were protecting the family legacy, Ethan interjected. Your rigid control over everything was suffocating us all. My control? Michael's laugh held no humor. Tell me, brother, how many of your failed ventures have I funded? How many times has my rigid control saved you from bankruptcy? Victoria stepped forward. Michael, please. We can work this out. The investments were legitimate opportunities, like the opportunities you discussed at the Ritz? Michael's words cut through her protests. Or perhaps you'd like to explain the offshore accounts? Evelyn's face paled. You've been spying on them? No, Mother. I've been protecting what's mine. Something you clearly forgot to do when you chose to support their schemes. I won't let you destroy this family, Evelyn declared, drawing herself up. Either you end this investigation and reconcile, or you'll no longer be welcome here. Michael looked around the room, at the faces of those who had betrayed him. His mother's righteous indignation, Victoria's calculated concern, Ethan's poorly concealed greed. You still don't understand, he said quietly. You never did. This isn't a negotiation. This isn't a family squabble to be resolved over dinner. This is war, and I've already won. He turned and walked out, ignoring their calls and protests. In his car, he made 2 calls. First to James, execute everything we discussed. No mercy. Then to Sarah, begin phase 2. I want them to feel completely secure before we pull the rug out. Over the next weeks, Michael orchestrated his disappearance with meticulous precision. The rental car carefully planted evidence, the elaborate ruse of a tragic accident. Everything designed to give him the freedom to operate unseen. From his hidden location, a cabin purchased years ago through a shell corporation of his own, Michael watched as Victoria finally tried to contact him. Not out of concern, but desperation for access to accounts he'd already emptied. Michael, this is ridiculous. Her voicemail carried an edge of panic. The accounts are frozen. We need to discuss this like adults. He let her words hang in the air, savoring her growing realization that her carefully laid plans were unraveling. Ethan's threat came next. Listen, brother. This little vanishing act? It won't work. Insurance fraud is a serious crime. Come back now, return the money, and maybe we can work something out. Michael smiled in the darkness of his cabin. They still thought they held the upper hand, still believed they could manipulate and control him. They would learn. Soon, they would all learn exactly who they had chosen to betray. Opening his laptop, Michael began implementing the next phase of his plan. Each property acquisition, each business transaction, each piece of evidence carefully placed, all building toward a revenge that would destroy them so completely they would never recover. They had taken everything from him. Now he would return the favor, with interest. Chapter 3. Seeds of Retribution. The screen surrounding Michael bathed his temporary command center in a blue glow. Each monitor displayed different aspects of his targets' lives: bank statements, social media feeds, surveillance footage. His chance meeting with Rachel Bennett had provided him with capabilities he hadn't anticipated. Their security is pathetic, Rachel said, her fingers dancing across her keyboard. A tech genius who'd lost everything to similar betrayal, she understood his mission on a visceral level. They're using the same passwords across multiple accounts. Amateur hour. Michael watched as she bypassed Victoria's email security. Show me everything. You sure? Some of these might be difficult to read. I need to know my enemy completely. Rachel nodded, understanding in her eyes. Emails populated the screen. Conversations between Victoria and Ethan spanning months, detailing their plan to systematically destroy Michael's life. Your wife's quite the strategist, Rachel commented, highlighting key exchanges. She orchestrated most of this. Your brother just provided the business connections. Michael's jaw tightened as he read Victoria's words. Once we've stripped him of everything, we'll have enough to live comfortably for years. Evelyn's will is just the final piece. Can you access their current communications? Rachel's fingers flew across the keyboard. Already done. They're panicking. Your disappearance wasn't part of their plan. Look at this exchange from this morning. Victoria to Ethan. He's 3 steps ahead of us. The accounts are locked. My credit cards are declined everywhere. What are we going to do? Ethan's response: stay calm. He can't hide forever. Mother still has assets we can access. Not anymore, Michael muttered, pulling up documents on his screen. James has already filed the injunctions. Every account, every property, frozen pending investigation. Rachel whistled low. You don't mess around, do you? They chose this path. Now they'll walk it to the end. Michael's phone buzzed, a text from David. Board meeting emergency called. Victoria trying to claim controlling interest through marriage. Need you to call in? Time to remind them who they're dealing with, Michael said, reaching for his secure phone. The conference call connected him to the boardroom. Victoria's voice carried clearly. And as his wife, I have certain rights to. I believe you're mistaken. Michael's voice cut through the room like a blade. David, please share the documents I sent you this morning. Silence fell as the board members reviewed the evidence of Victoria's conspiracy with Ethan. The photos, the transfers, the recorded conversations. All carefully selected to destroy any credibility she might have had. Mrs. Carter, the board chairman's voice was ice cold. I believe we're done here. Security will escort you out. Michael ended the call, satisfaction curling through him at the image of Victoria being led from the building in disgrace. Ready for the next phase? Rachel asked, pulling up new screens. Start with their social circle. I want every secret, lie, hidden scandal exposed. Together, they crafted messages to key society figures, anonymous tips about Victoria and Ethan's activities, carefully worded to sow maximum doubt. Each revelation was timed perfectly to create a cascade of social destruction. Look at this, Rachel said, pointing to her screen. Your brother's trying to offload some family heirlooms. Desperate for cash already. Michael leaned forward. Track the buyers. Make sure each sale fails spectacularly. Days turned into weeks as they methodically destroyed Victoria and Ethan's world. Each morning brought new opportunities for destruction. Each evening confirmed their growing desperation. Sarah's reports detailed their declining status. Victoria's boutique losing crucial partnerships. Ethan's investors pulling out of deals, their social circle shrinking as former friends distance themselves from the scandal. Your mother's not doing well, Sarah noted during one of her updates. The stress is affecting her health. Michael's expression remained unchanged. She chose her side. She's been trying to reach you through intermediaries. Let her try. Michael turned back to his screens. Rachel, show me the latest surveillance. The footage revealed Victoria and Ethan arguing outside a closed bank, their formerly immaculate appearance showing signs of strain. Their carefully constructed world was crumbling piece by piece. They're turning on each other, Rachel observed. Your brother's been making some interesting calls, trying to cut a deal behind Victoria's back. Record everything. We'll use it when the time is right. Michael's phone lit up with a message from James. Discovery phase complete. Evidence compiled. Ready to proceed with legal action on your command. Your call, Rachel said quietly. Once we start this, there's no going back. Michael thought of his childhood home, of his mother's constant criticism, of Victoria's betrayal, of Ethan's endless schemes. Years of manipulation and deceit, all leading to this moment. Send everything to James, he commanded. It's time they learned the true cost of betrayal. Rachel nodded, initiating the transfers that would set the final phase in motion. On her screens, notifications began appearing. Bank accounts frozen, credit lines suspended, property liens filed. The messages started immediately. First from Victoria. Michael, please. We need to talk. Things are getting out of hand. Then Ethan. Brother, be reasonable. We can work something out. Finally, his mother. Son, you're destroying this family. Come home. We can fix this. Michael let them beg. Each desperate message confirmed that his plan was working perfectly. They had thought him weak, thought his trust made him vulnerable. Now they would understand exactly who they had betrayed. In his hidden command center, surrounded by screens showing their mounting desperation, Michael Carter allowed himself a small smile. The foundation was laid, the trap was set, and his enemies were exactly where he wanted them. The real destruction hadn't even begun. Chapter 4. The Web Titans. Michael studied the acquisition documents on his laptop screen, his face illuminated by the dim light of his hidden command center. Rachel sat beside him, monitoring multiple displays showing Victoria and Ethan's deteriorating financial status. Victoria's property management company is vulnerable, Rachel reported, pulling up financial statements. Their stock dropped 15% this week alone. Show me the shell corporation structure. Rachel displayed a complex web of interconnected companies. We can route the takeover through these 3 entities. Nobody will trace it back to you. Michael nodded, signing the digital documents that would set the hostile takeover in motion. Within hours, Victoria would discover her significant investment had become worthless. His phone buzzed, Sarah Collins calling. Mr. Carter, Ethan's getting desperate. He's trying to sell your family's heirlooms through private dealers. Names and locations. I'm sending the details now. He's meeting the first buyer at the Meridian Hotel in 2 hours. Michael turned to Rachel. Block his access to the hotel's parking structure. Then freeze his credit cards. All of them. Rachel's fingers flew across her keyboard. Done. And look at this. He's been trying to access his trust fund accounts. Should I let him see the new balance? Zero it out. Let him discover it at the bank. Across town, Ethan paced the hotel lobby, checking his watch repeatedly. His once pristine suit showed signs of wear, his composure cracking. The potential buyer had texted to meet in the parking structure, but his key card wouldn't work. His credit cards were declined at the front desk. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The security guard approached, hand on his radio. Do you know who I am? Ethan's voice cracked. Call Victoria Carter. She's a frequent guest. Mrs. Carter's accounts have been flagged, sir. Please exit the premises. In her downtown office, Victoria stared at her computer screen in horror. The property management company's stock wasn't just falling, it was in free fall. Her phone rang incessantly, with panicked investors demanding explanations. I don't understand, she snapped at her financial advisor. How could someone acquire controlling interest without warning? The buyout came through multiple international corporations. It's completely legal, but the shares are now essentially worthless. Victoria's hand shook as she reached for her phone, dialing Ethan's number. Straight to voicemail. Damn you, Ethan. Answer your phone. Everything's falling apart. The office door opened. Her assistant entered, face pale. Mrs. Carter, there are some gentlemen from the SEC here to discuss irregularities in the company's recent transactions. Michael watched the scene unfold through the security cameras Rachel had accessed. Victoria's carefully maintained composure crumbled as the investigators led her into a conference room. Play the audio, he commanded. Victoria's voice filled the room. Those transfers were all legitimate investments. What do you mean, fraud indicators? My brother-in-law assured me. She's throwing Ethan under the bus already, Rachel observed. Predictable. Michael pulled up another screen. Show me Ethan's current location. The GPS tracker showed Ethan's car parked outside an upscale pawn shop. Sarah's voice came through the speaker. He's trying to offload your grandmother's jewelry. Want me to intervene? No. Let him complete the transaction. Then have the police contact the shop about receiving stolen goods. The day unfolded according to Michael's careful orchestration. Each move his targets made led them deeper into his web. Victoria's questioning by SEC investigators lasted hours. Ethan's attempted sale of family heirlooms ended in humiliation. Their world contracted with each passing hour. Michael, Rachel's voice held a note of concern. Your mother's medical records just appeared in the system. She's been admitted to the hospital. He studied the records dispassionately. Stress-induced cardiac event. Not severe. Victoria and Ethan are arguing about who should handle her care. Neither wants the responsibility. Of course not. They've squeezed her resources dry. She's no longer useful to them. Michael opened his email, finding the expected message from James Peterson. Asset freeze complete. Offshore accounts traced and flagged for investigation. They're running out of options. Rachel monitored the communications between Victoria and Ethan, their increasingly frantic messages revealing their disintegrating alliance. Victoria, where are you? The SEC is asking questions about those shell companies you set up. Ethan, handle it yourself. I've got bigger problems. Your brilliant investment strategy ruined us both. They're turning on each other faster than expected, Rachel noted. Fear does that. Michael leaned back, satisfaction evident in his posture. What's the status of the false investors? Rachel grinned. Right on schedule. 3 potential saviors have made contact. Each one vetted by their desperation. Each one leading them further into debt. The screen showed Victoria meeting with a distinguished-looking man, one of Michael's carefully placed actors. His promises of investment would lead to more lost money, more desperate decisions. Ethan's attempts to salvage his reputation led him to another of Michael's plants, a sympathetic businessman who understood his plight and offered assistance for a price. David's getting suspicious, Rachel reported, showing recent text messages. He's asking more questions about your absence. Michael considered his options. David's loyalty could be valuable, but the timing had to be perfect. Arrange a meeting. Remote location, controlled environment. It's time he understood his role in this. The pieces were falling into place. Victoria's professional reputation lay in ruins, her social standing destroyed. Ethan's schemes had collapsed, leaving him exposed and desperate. Even their mother's illness served Michael's purpose, revealing their true nature as they argued over her care. Rachel, prepare the next phase. I want their personal devices compromised completely. Let's see what other betrayals they've been hiding. As night fell, Michael reviewed the day's victories. His targets were running scared, their resources dwindling, their alliance fracturing. Soon, they would have nothing left but their mutual recriminations and the knowledge that they had brought this destruction upon themselves. Their perfect lives had been built on betrayal. Now they would watch as Michael demolished their foundation, brick by brick, until nothing remained but the truth they had tried to bury. Chapter 5. Fractured Alliances. Victoria slammed her designer handbag onto the marble countertop of Ethan's penthouse kitchen. You've been negotiating behind my back? After everything we've built together. Ethan's usual smooth charm had degraded into barely contained panic. Built? You mean destroyed. Your brilliant plan to steal Michael's fortune has left us both in ruins. My plan? Victoria's laugh held a hysterical edge. You were the one who convinced me Michael was holding us back. You promised your business acumen would triple our returns. I found a way out. Ethan paced the kitchen, his expensive shoes scuffing the imported tiles. There's a private investor willing to, like the last 3 investors who disappeared with what little money we had left. Victoria pulled out her phone, displaying a banking app. You transferred funds from our joint emergency account without consulting me because you were too busy trying to sell information about my dealings to save yourself. Ethan's facade cracked completely. Yes, I know about your meeting with the S. Throwing me under the bus won't save you, sister dear. In his hidden command center, Michael watched the scene unfold through the penthouse's security cameras, Rachel monitoring multiple screens beside him. Their private accounts are both nearly empty, Rachel reported, each trying to secure funds without the other knowing. Want to see their latest desperate attempts? Michael nodded, studying the financial records Rachel displayed. Victoria had attempted to access offshore accounts that no longer existed. Ethan had tried selling proprietary company information to competitors, only to discover the information was worthless. Mr. Carter, Sarah Collins' voice came through the speaker. Your mother's asking to communicate with you through an intermediary. Says it's important. Put it through. Evelyn's message, relayed through her private nurse, played in the room. Michael, I need you to understand. Victoria and Ethan, I thought they would protect our legacy better than you. Your father's abandonment taught me the importance of securing the family's future at any cost. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. She's dying, Rachel said quietly, pulling up Evelyn's latest medical records. She's trying to manipulate me one last time. Michael's voice remained cold. Continue monitoring her communications with Victoria and Ethan. A new alert flashed on Rachel's screen. Victoria's making her move. She's threatening to expose your disappearance as staged. Michael's lips curved into a cruel smile. Show me? The email appeared on the main screen. Victoria's desperate attempt at blackmail, threatening to reveal evidence of Michael's carefully orchestrated vanishing act. Send a response package. Rachel initiated the protocol they'd prepared. Victoria's phone pinged with an incoming message. Detailed documentation of her own criminal activities, including timestamps, bank records, and recorded conversations. Her heart rate just spiked, Rachel noted, monitoring the data from Victoria's smartwatch. She's realizing she has no moves left. Across town, Victoria stared at her phone in horror. Michael had anticipated her threat and prepared a devastating counterattack. Each document revealed another layer of her crimes, meticulously documented and ready to be submitted to authorities. Her phone rang. Ethan again. She rejected the call, only to receive a text. The FBI is asking questions about our shell companies. What did you tell them? In his penthouse, Ethan's desperation reached new heights. His attempts to contact their mother's lawyer about accessing the family trust were met with silence. Each financial avenue he explored led to a dead end. The algorithm's working perfectly, Rachel reported, showing Michael the program she designed to track and counter their targets' financial moves. They can't make a single transaction without us knowing and blocking it. Michael studied the data flows. Initiate the media protocol. Rachel typed rapidly, launching the next phase. Within hours, carefully crafted stories began appearing in local business publications. Investigative pieces examining Victoria and Ethan's history of fraud and manipulation. Their social media mentions are exploding, Rachel noted. Former friends and business associates are distancing themselves publicly. Michael watched as Victoria's Instagram followers dropped by the thousands. Ethan's LinkedIn connections vanished as the story spread. Their carefully constructed social facade crumbled in real time. Victoria's boutique received a notice of audit. Ethan's remaining business contacts stopped returning his calls. Their world contracted further with each passing hour. Michael. Rachel's voice held a note of concern. Ethan's showing signs of substance abuse. His recent purchases, his erratic behavior. Document everything. It will be useful later. The screen showed Ethan entering a high-end bar at 2 in the afternoon, his appearance notably disheveled. Victoria, meanwhile, had begun reaching out to old social connections, only to be met with polite but firm rejections. Their last supporting pillars are crumbling, Rachel observed. No, Michael's voice was steel. I'm not just destroying their support system. I'm ensuring they destroy each other. A new alert caught their attention. Victoria had attempted to access Michael's corporate accounts using old passwords. The system let her in just far enough to find evidence of her own betrayals. Carefully planted documents revealing her plans to abandon Ethan once Michael was out of the picture. Send it to him, Michael commanded. Rachel forwarded the documents to Ethan's email. Within minutes, his furious response reached Victoria. You were planning to betray me too? After everything I've done for you? Victoria's reply was equally vicious. Done for me? You've done nothing but drag me down with your failures. I should have known better than to trust a perpetual disappointment like you. The siblings' mutual destruction accelerated, their alliance shattering under the weight of revelations Michael had orchestrated. Each blamed the other for their downfall, neither recognizing how completely Michael controlled their decline. Their mother's condition is worsening, Rachel reported, monitoring Evelyn's medical records. The stress is affecting her recovery. She chose her side. Michael's voice held no remorse. She can watch her legacy destroy itself. The day ended with Victoria and Ethan completely isolated, their resources depleted, their reputations in ruins. Neither suspected that their desperate attempts to save themselves had been choreographed from the start. Michael reviewed the damage with satisfaction. His targets had lost everything: money, status, dignity. But he wasn't finished. The final act of his revenge would strip away the last thing they had: hope. Chapter 6: The Gathering Storm. The banker's voice trembled as he delivered the news to Victoria. All accounts are frozen, pending federal investigation. There's nothing I can do. Victoria gripped her phone tighter. This is ridiculous. I demand to speak to your superior. The orders came from above, Mrs. Carter. Multiple agencies are involved. As Victoria's world imploded in the bank's private office, Ethan faced his own crisis across town. Foreclosure notices plastered his penthouse door, his security access revoked. In his command center, Michael orchestrated their destruction with precision. Rachel monitored multiple screens, showing their targets simultaneous meltdowns. The synchronized account freezes worked perfectly, Rachel reported. They're both completely cut off. Michael nodded, reviewing the cascade of events he'd initiated. Status of the estate? Your mother's realtor just listed it. Given her medical bills and the legal pressures, she has no choice but to sell. Initiate purchase through Shell Corporation Delta. Rachel processed the transaction. The family estate would return to Michael's control, though none would know he was the buyer. A fitting symbol of his victory over those who had betrayed him. David's here, Rachel announced, checking the security feed. Michael's friend and colleague entered the command center, his expression grave. You're sure about this next phase? Completely. Michael pulled up detailed plans on the main screen. You've seen the evidence of their crimes. Are you prepared to play your part? David studied the documents before him. Irrefutable proof of Victoria and Ethan's conspiracy. They deserve everything coming to them. What do you need? Your position in the real estate market makes you the perfect conduit for what happens next. Michael outlined the final phase of his plan. They'll trust you because they think you're searching for me. As they discussed the details, Rachel monitored Victoria and Ethan's increasingly erratic behavior. Their attempts to contact each other had devolved into accusations and threats. They're receiving the messages, Rachel confirmed, tracking the psychological warfare campaign they'd initiated. Each target received carefully crafted communications designed to make them doubt their own memories and decisions. Victoria's phone buzzed with anonymous texts. Did you really think you could trust him? Check his private account. The one he didn't tell you about. Ethan's email filled with doctor documents suggesting Victoria had been working with federal authorities since the beginning. Their paranoia levels are peaking, Rachel noted, monitoring their vital signs through hacked smart devices. Victoria's blood pressure is dangerously high. Ethan hasn't slept in 48 hours. Michael reviewed the surveillance footage. Victoria paced her empty boutique, jumping at shadows. Ethan drained another drink in his darkened penthouse, muttering to himself. Implement the final bait. Rachel initiated the sequence they'd prepared. Both targets received the same message: a chance at financial salvation through a mysterious investment opportunity. The documentation was flawless, the potential returns astronomical. "David, your introduction needs to be perfect," Michael instructed. "They need to believe this is their last chance." "I'll convince them." David's voice held conviction. "After what they did to you, making them walk into their own destruction is justice." Using advanced technology, Rachel crafted a digital trail that would eventually clear Michael of any wrongdoing while definitively proving Victoria and Ethan's guilt. The evidence would activate at the perfect moment during their final confrontation. "The location is secured," Rachel reported. "All systems in place." Michael studied the blueprint of their chosen venue. Each detail had been considered, each potential variable controlled. His targets would walk into a trap of their own making, never suspecting the true architect of their doom. Psychological profiles updated, Rachel added. Their fear and desperation levels make them particularly susceptible to manipulation now. Victoria and Ethan, separately receiving the carefully crafted opportunity, responded exactly as Michael had predicted. Their greed and desperation overrode any remaining caution. "Meeting confirmed," David reported after making contact. "They're both coming, though neither knows the other will be there." Michael allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Months of planning, of careful manipulation and strategic pressure, had led to this moment. His betrayers would face not only their own crimes, but the ultimate price of their treachery. Rachel, initiate the final security protocols. David, ensure all legal documentation is in place. In 48 hours, they'll understand exactly who they chose to cross. The screen surrounding them displayed the unraveling lives of their targets. Victoria's social media, showing her increasing isolation. Ethan's credit cards declined everywhere, their mother's estate being prepared for sale. "What about collateral damage?" David asked. "Innocent parties who might be affected?" "Already handled." Michael displayed a complex flowchart. "Legitimate businesses will be protected. Only the guilty will pay." As night fell, Michael reviewed each element of his plan one final time. The trap was set, the players in position, the evidence prepared. Victoria and Ethan, desperate for salvation, would walk willingly into the scenario he had crafted for their destruction. "Send the final confirmation," he instructed Rachel. "Let them think hope still exists." The messages went out, offering one last chance at redemption. Their targets, broken and desperate, grabbed at the opportunity like drowning people clutching at straws. Michael watched their immediate responses with cold satisfaction. Everything had led to this moment. His revenge, carefully orchestrated over months, would reach its crescendo. They had destroyed his trust, betrayed his love, attempted to steal his life's work. Now they would learn the true cost of underestimating Michael Carter. The storm he had gathered would break over them with devastating force, leaving nothing but the wreckage of their own choices in its wake. Chapter 7. The Confrontation. The abandoned Majestic Theater stood dark against the city skyline. Inside, Michael surveyed the renovated space from his control room. Multiple screens illuminated the area, each displaying a different camera angle of the theater's interior. "They're approaching," Rachel reported, monitoring the security feeds. Victoria just parked in the east lot. Ethan's 5 minutes behind. Michael adjusted his tie, his expression cold. "Status of the presentation systems?" "All screens operational. Audio tested and clear. Evidence files loaded and sequenced." This theater, where he had once proposed to Victoria, would now serve as the stage for their destruction. The symbolism wasn't lost on him. Another performance, but this time he controlled the script. Victoria entered first, her designer heels clicking against the marble floor. Despite her attempts at maintaining composure, her hands shook as she checked her phone repeatedly. "Mrs. Carter," David greeted her, playing his role perfectly. "Thank you for coming. The investors are running slightly late." "I don't have time for delays," Victoria snapped. "My accounts are frozen. I need this deal." She stopped as Ethan appeared at the opposite entrance. "What's he doing here?" "Hello, sister dear." Ethan's attempt at smoothness cracked around the edges. "Fancy meeting you here." "This is my opportunity," Victoria hissed. "Find your own way out of this mess." "Actually," David's voice carried authority. The investors requested both of your presence. The theater doors sealed with an audible click. Victoria spun around, her practiced poise slipping. What's happening? The screens surrounding them blazed to life. Each displayed a different piece of evidence: bank statements, surveillance photos, recorded conversations. Their betrayal documented in high definition. Michael's voice filled the space. Welcome to the final act. Victoria's face drained of color. Ethan stumbled backward. Michael, did you really think you could destroy me so easily? Michael's voice held no emotion. That I would simply disappear while you stole my life? This is ridiculous. Victoria tried to regain control. We can explain this? The screens shifted to display their private messages, planning their betrayal. Victoria's voice played through the speakers. Once we've bled him dry, we'll be set for life. Ethan's response followed. The fool trusts me completely. His own brother, it's almost too easy. You recorded us? Ethan's outrage couldn't mask his fear. I documented everything. Michael stepped out onto the theater's balcony, looking down at them. Every lie, theft, betrayal, new evidence appeared on the screens. Offshore accounts, forged documents, their systematic destruction of his life laid bare in meticulous detail. The SEC is already investigating, Michael continued. FBI too. Your futures are effectively over. You can't prove anything. Victoria's legal training surfaced. These could be fabricated. A new video appeared. Evelyn's confession, recorded during her hospital stay. I helped them, Michael. I thought Victoria and Ethan could secure our legacy better than you. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. Victoria's composure cracked completely. You turned our own mother against us? No. Michael's voice cut through her hysteria. You did that yourselves. Your greed, your manipulation. It destroyed everything you claimed to protect. Rachel's voice came through his earpiece. David's in position with the media contacts. Michael nodded slightly. You have a choice now. Option 1. Face federal prosecution. The evidence has already been submitted. You'll both serve significant prison time. Or, Ethan demanded. Option 2. Public confession. Complete accountability. You'll retain your freedom, but you'll repay every cent you stole. Not just from me, but from all your victims. Victims? Victoria laughed desperately. We were protecting the family fortune from your rigid control. Really? The screens displayed new information. Victoria's plans to betray Ethan, his schemes to cut her out, their separate attempts to seize control of the assets they'd stolen. The siblings stared at each other, years of partnership dissolving in seconds. You were going to betray me? Ethan's voice rose. After everything I did for you? Me? Victoria's composure shattered completely. You were stealing from both sides. Those business opportunities were just ways to funnel money to your private accounts. At least I didn't sleep with my husband's brother just to access his fortune. Their argument escalated, each revelation pushing them further into rage and desperation. Michael watched from above, his expression unchanged as they tore into each other. Enough! His command froze them mid-fight. Your time is up. Decision time. You're streaming this? Victoria noticed the small red lights indicating active cameras. To select audiences. Your social circle is watching your disgrace in real time. Ethan broke first. Fine. I'll confess. I'll pay it back. Just make it stop. Victoria. She stared up at her husband, finally seeing him clearly. Not the trusting fool she'd thought him to be, but a ruthless force who had orchestrated their complete destruction. You planned this from the beginning, she whispered. The whole time we thought we were winning. You never stood a chance. Michael's voice held no satisfaction, only cold finality. Your confession. Now. The next hour revealed every detail of their scheme. Each betrayal, each manipulation, each theft exposed under Michael's relentless questioning. The cameras captured everything. Their breakdown, their accusations, their final surrender. When it was done, they stood broken, their alliance shattered, their reputations destroyed, their futures controlled by the man they had tried to destroy. The documents are ready, David announced, producing legal papers. Signed. Michael's command left no room for argument. Everything you stole will be repaid. You'll never work in this city again. Your social standing, your business connections, all gone. They signed, hands shaking, watched by the cameras that would ensure their disgrace was complete. Get out. Michael's dismissal carried absolute authority. The authorities have your confessions. Step out of line once, and the federal charges proceed. They left separately, unable to even look at each other. Their perfect plan had become their perfect destruction. Rachel joined Michael on the balcony. Transmission confirmed. The select audience received everything. Michael straightened his tie, his expression unchanged. Prepare the final phase. I want their surrender agreement publicized through appropriate channels. They're finished, Rachel observed. Yes. Michael surveyed the empty theater. They thought they could break me. Instead, I broke them completely. The screens went dark one by one, leaving the theater in silence. Michael Carter had orchestrated their destruction with the same precision they had used to betray him. In the end, justice was served cold, calculated, and complete. Chapter 8. Redemption and Rebirth. The morning headlines blazed across digital screens throughout the city. Carter family scandal. Siblings' criminal enterprise exposed. Michael watched the news coverage from his office in the newly acquired family estate, his expression carved from stone. The social media response is overwhelming, Rachel reported, displaying analytics on her tablet. Victoria and Ethan's public confession has gone viral. Their reputations are completely destroyed. Show me their current status. Rachel pulled up multiple surveillance feeds. Victoria sat alone in her stripped-bare penthouse, surrounded by legal papers and foreclosure notices. Across town, Ethan faced eviction from his apartment, his belongings in boxes. Message from David, Rachel announced. Evelyn's requesting to communicate through him. Michael's jaw tightened. Play it. David's voice filled the room. Michael, your mother's health is declining. She wants to express her remorse personally. Says she finally understands the depth of her mistake in supporting Victoria and Ethan. Your response? Rachel asked. Michael considered the monitors showing his mother's hospital room. The once proud woman lay diminished, her schemes having cost her everything: health, wealth, and family. Limited contact, he decided, through David only. No direct communication. She's not the only one trying to make amends, Rachel noted, pulling up new data. The foundation proposal is ready. Michael reviewed the documents, transforming the family estate into a center for victims of financial and domestic abuse. The irony wasn't lost on him. The house that had witnessed so much betrayal would now serve to protect others from similar fate. Implement the security protocols, he commanded. No one associated with Victoria or Ethan gains access, regardless of their claims or circumstances. His phone buzzed, James Peterson calling. The civil lawsuits are proceeding, his attorney reported. Multiple victims of Victoria and Ethan's schemes are coming forward. They won't recover financially for decades. Good. Michael's satisfaction was cold. Ensure the legal pressure remains constant. They deserve no peace. Rachel's monitoring systems flagged new activities. Victoria had attempted to contact former social connections, seeking support. Each attempt met with explicit rejection. Ethan's efforts to secure new business opportunities faced similar failure. Their isolation is complete, Rachel observed. The algorithm tracks their every move, ensuring no one risks association with them. Michael stood at his office window, surveying the estate grounds. Status of the consulting firm establishment? Structure completed. Our combined expertise in detecting and preventing financial fraud has already attracted potential clients. Many specifically mentioned the Carter case as their reason for seeking our services. A notification appeared, David arriving for their scheduled meeting. The man who had witnessed Michael's revenge firsthand entered the office, carrying additional documents. The media is demanding interviews, David reported. They want to know the mastermind behind Victoria and Ethan's downfall. Maintain my privacy, Michael directed. The focus stays on their crimes, not my methods. The business community's reaction is interesting, David added. Many admire the precision of your retaliation, even if they don't know you orchestrated it. Michael's expression remained unchanged. Fear and respect often coincide. Their destruction serves as a warning to others who might consider similar betrayal. Rachel's system flagged new activities. Victoria attempting to access frozen accounts. Ethan trying to contact potential investors. Each effort failed, blocked by the infrastructure Michael had built. They're still not accepting their new reality, Rachel noted. They will. Michael's voice held absolute certainty. Time and isolation break everyone. David reviewed his notes. The legal consequences are mounting. Multiple civil suits, regulatory investigations, tax audits. They're drowning in legal fees alone. Increase the pressure, Michael commanded. I want them to feel the weight of their actions with each passing day. The screen showed Victoria being served with new lawsuit papers. Ethan faced another rejection from a potential employer. Their worlds contracted further with each passing hour. The Foundation's first cases are ready for review, Rachel reported. Victims of financial abuse seeking protection and justice. Michael studied the applications. Screen them thoroughly. Ensure none have connections to Victoria or Ethan's circles. A message from the hospital appeared. Evelyn's condition had worsened. Her doctors recommended hospice care. Your mother's requesting a final meeting, David said quietly. Michael's expression hardened. She made her choice long ago. She can live with the consequences, just like Victoria and Ethan. The day proceeded with Michael and Rachel fine-tuning their consulting firm's protocols. Each system was designed to protect clients from the type of betrayal he had experienced while identifying potential threats. Victoria's attempted to schedule another job interview, Rachel announced. Want me to ensure it fails? Let her attend, Michael decided. Then release the evidence of her crimes to her potential employer afterward. The hope makes the fall harder. The surveillance feeds showed the continued disintegration of his targets' lives. Victoria's designer wardrobe sold piece by piece. Ethan's prized possessions pawned for basic necessities. Their desperate attempts to maintain appearances crumbling under relentless pressure. They thought they could break me, Michael observed, watching their struggles. Instead, I turned their own tactics against them. Isolation, manipulation, destruction. The lesson will haunt them forever. The sun set on another day of calculated revenge. Michael's empire grew stronger while his enemies floundered in the ruins of their schemes. His retribution wasn't just complete. It was ongoing, a perpetual reminder that betrayal carried devastating consequences. The Foundation would help others, yes, but it would also stand as a monument to his victory. Each client served would reinforce the price of treachery. Each success would validate his ruthless response to those who had tried to destroy him. In the end, Michael Carter hadn't just survived their betrayal. He had turned it into an instrument of their complete and lasting destruction. Chapter 9. A New Beginning. 1 year after the theater confrontation, Michael Carter stood before the board of his foundation, his presence commanding absolute attention. The quarterly results displayed on the screen behind him told a story of devastating effectiveness. Our success rate in protecting victims of financial abuse has reached 97%, he stated, his voice carrying the same cold authority that had destroyed his betrayers. The consulting firm's methods have prevented over $2 billion in potential fraud. Rachel, now his full partner in both ventures, added her own report. The artificial intelligence systems we developed have identified and prevented countless attempts at financial manipulation. Several major corporations have requested exclusive access to our protocols. The Foundation's headquarters, his former family estate, had become a fortress of justice and retribution. Each room that had once witnessed betrayal now served to prevent others from suffering similar fates. Update on our previous targets, Rachel murmured as the board members filed out. Michael nodded, moving to his private office where multiple screens displayed familiar faces. Victoria, once the epitome of social grace, now worked as a low-level data entry clerk in a small firm, the only job she could secure with her ruined reputation. She attempted to date a local business owner last month, Rachel reported. Anonymous delivery of her history ended that possibility. Ethan, still struggling with substance abuse. His latest attempt at rehabilitation failed when funding disappeared, as arranged. He's working manual labor jobs under assumed names. Michael studied the surveillance photos. His brother's expensive suits replaced by worn work clothes, Victoria's designer wardrobe exchanged for off-the-rack basics. Their destruction remained absolute. Your mother's memorial service is next week, Rachel reminded him. She never recovered after the confrontation. Ensure Victoria and Ethan receive the details, but cannot attend. Their presence would dishonor her final recognition of truth. The screen showed Evelyn's last recorded message. Made days before her death, Michael was right. Our betrayal destroyed this family. His response? It was brutal, but we earned it. David entered, carrying reports from their latest business expansion. The media is still fascinated by Victoria and Ethan's downfall. They're becoming a case study in consequences. Good. Michael's satisfaction remained cold. Their cautionary tale serves our purpose. The foundation's success had exceeded even Michael's expectations. Wealthy clients sought their protection, victims found justice, and potential abusers faced a powerful new deterrent. Each victory strengthened his position while reinforcing his enemy's defeat. New client arriving, Rachel announced. Another victim of familial financial abuse. The parallels to your case are striking. Michael reviewed the file. Show them how completely we can destroy their betrayers. Use Victoria and Ethan's case as an example, without revealing my connection. The consulting firm's reputation for ruthless effectiveness attracted powerful clients worldwide. Many whispered about the Carter scandal, never realizing they worked directly with its architect. Speaking of effectiveness, Rachel pulled up new data. Our monitoring systems caught Victoria attempting to write a memoir. Publishers keep mysteriously losing interest after receiving our anonymous information packets. Michael's expression showed grim satisfaction. Ensure she wastes months on the effort before crushing that hope too. Hope makes the fall harder. The Foundation's conference room filled with new clients, business leaders seeking protection from potential betrayals. Michael addressed them with the authority of someone who had turned personal vengeance into institutional power. Financial predators exist in many forms, he explained. Family members, trusted partners, even spouses. Our systems identify and neutralize these threats before they can strike. The clients listened intently, unaware that their speaker had orchestrated one of the most complete destructions of financial predators in recent history. Your mother's estate is fully converted, David reported later. The last traces of Victoria and Ethan's influence removed. Michael nodded in approval. The estate that had witnessed his family's betrayal now stood as a monument to justice and consequences. Each room dedicated to protecting others while serving as a reminder of his victory. Local leaders want to honor the Foundation's work, Rachel mentioned. They're unaware they're celebrating the very system that destroyed Victoria and Ethan. Accept the recognition, Michael commanded. Each public acknowledgement reinforces our power, while reminding our enemies of their permanent disgrace. The day ended with Michael reviewing surveillance updates. Victoria alone in her small apartment. All attempts at rebuilding her life thwarted by invisible forces. Ethan moving between temporary jobs, his dreams of success shattered beyond repair. They still don't understand, Rachel observed. They think time will diminish your resolve. They never understood, Michael replied. They saw my trust as weakness. Now they've learned, betrayal has consequences, and I never forget. The Foundation grew stronger each day, its mission expanding beyond mere protection into active prevention of betrayal. Michael had transformed his revenge into a lasting legacy, his personal pain into institutional power. His enemies lived in perpetual consequence of their actions, their destruction serving as an eternal warning to others who might consider similar betrayal. Michael Carter hadn't just survived their treachery. He had turned it into an empire built on the ashes of their destruction. The sun set on his domain, but his vigilance never wavered. In boardrooms and back alleys, his influence spread. The man they had tried to destroy had become a force that destroyed betrayers. His personal vengeance evolved into a sophisticated machine of justice and retribution. Michael stood at his office window, his reflection hard and unforgiving. They had tried to break him, but instead he had broken them, completely, permanently, and without mercy. His new beginning wasn't about healing or forgiveness. It was about power, control, and the endless satisfaction of justice served cold. Epilogue: 10 years later. Michael Carter stood in his penthouse office atop the Carter Foundation Tower, his empire having expanded beyond even his own ruthless ambitions. At 45, his presence commanded even more authority than before, his reputation for merciless efficiency making him both feared and respected in equal measure. The quarterly numbers, Sir Rachel Bennett, now CFO of their global organization, placed a tablet on his desk. Their partnership had evolved into a formidable alliance, their shared experience of betrayal forging an unbreakable professional bond. Victoria attempted to leave the country again, Rachel reported, pulling up surveillance feeds. Her visa application mysteriously failed, the 7th time in 3 years. Michael observed the footage of his former wife, now aged beyond her 50 years, working as a filing clerk in a small legal firm in Sacramento. The only job she could maintain under their constant surveillance. Her once perfect appearance had deteriorated, designer clothes replaced by discount store attire. She tried to publish her story online last month, Rachel continued. Anonymous threats of legal action shut down the blog within hours. The hosting company received proof of her criminal history. And Ethan? Rachel switched feeds. Ethan Carter, once the pampered favorite son, now worked as a night janitor in a Phoenix office building. Years of substance abuse had left him gaunt and prematurely aged. His 4th attempt at rehabilitation had failed when the facility received anonymous evidence of insurance fraud. He attempted to contact his daughter again, Rachel noted. Her adoptive parents maintained the restraining order. Our legal team ensured the court received detailed records of his ongoing instability. Michael's revenge had extended beyond mere financial destruction. Both Victoria and Ethan had been systematically stripped of all human connections, their attempts at rebuilding relationships thwarted by the invisible machinery of his influence. David Martinez entered the office, now executive director of the Carter Foundation. The new security protocol you designed prevented 3 major corporate takeover attempts this quarter. The business world's calling it the Carter Shield, though they don't know you created it. Status of the global expansion? Michael demanded. The London and Singapore offices are operational, each new branch equipped with your enhanced surveillance systems. Our clients now include 40% of Fortune 500 companies, all seeking protection from the type of betrayal you experienced. Michael's foundation had evolved into a multinational corporation specializing in preventing and punishing financial abuse. Their methods, derived from his own revenge tactics, had become industry standard. The betrayal meant to destroy him had instead created an empire. Sarah Collins called, Rachel interjected. Sarah, the private investigator who had first uncovered Victoria's betrayal, now headed their global intelligence division. She's identified another family attempting a similar scheme to what Victoria and Ethan tried. The targets want to hire our services. Show them the Carter case files, Michael commanded. Let them see how completely we can destroy those who betray trust. The Carter case had become legendary in certain circles, a cautionary tale of devastating consequences. Few knew that the man who had orchestrated such complete destruction now protected others from similar fates. The trust fund you established for Evelyn's medical care remains untouched, David reported. Victoria and Ethan never discovered its existence, even during your mother's final years. Michael's expression remained hard. His mother's death 5 years ago had changed nothing. Her final attempts at reconciliation had met with the same cold response he'd maintained since their betrayal. A new alert appeared on Rachel's tablet. Victoria's attempting to date again. Local business owner, divorced, no children. Want us to intervene? Send him the complete file. Let him see exactly who he's dealing with. Within hours, another potential connection would be severed. Victoria's isolation would remain absolute, her punishment ongoing and eternal. Ethan's son asked about him again, David mentioned. The boy's 18 now, wanting to know his father's story. Send him the court records, Michael directed. Let him see the truth about his father's crimes. Ensure he understands the consequences of following such paths. The Carter Foundation's newest initiative appeared on the main screen, a global database tracking potential financial predators. The system Michael had built to destroy his betrayers now served to identify and neutralize similar threats worldwide. The algorithm flagged interesting patterns, Rachel reported. 3 cases matching Victoria and Ethan's methods. Different cities, same basic approach. Activate the protection protocols, Michael commanded. Show the perpetrators what awaits them if they proceed. His reputation alone often proved sufficient deterrent. The business world had learned. Crossing Michael Carter meant complete and permanent destruction. In their separate cities, Victoria and Ethan continued their isolated existences, unaware that their brother's empire had grown from their destruction. Each job application mysteriously failed. Each attempt at human connection severed. Each hope of recovery systematically crushed. Victoria tried to access social media again, Rachel noted. New account, fake name. The system flagged and blocked it within minutes. Good. Maintain the pressure. 10 years is nothing. They'll serve their sentence for life. The foundation's success had exceeded all expectations. Clients worldwide sought their protection, drawn by their perfect record of preventing betrayal and punishing offenders. Michael's personal vendetta had evolved into a sophisticated machine of justice. Your nomination for the Business Leadership Award arrived, David mentioned. The committee's unaware they're honoring the architect of Victoria and Ethan's destruction. Accept it. Each public recognition reinforces our power. The Carter Foundation Tower stood as a monument to his victory. 40 stories of glass and steel dedicated to preventing and punishing betrayal. The family estate, now the Foundation's training center, served as a constant reminder of his triumph over those who had tried to destroy him. Quarterly reports from our surveillance teams, Rachel presented new data. Victoria's attempted suicide rate has decreased. The mandatory therapy sessions we anonymously funded are working. Maintain the monitoring. She lives or dies on our terms, not hers. Ethan's latest attempt at stability, a small apartment, entry-level job, local AA meetings, would last only as long as Michael allowed. One word from him would send his brother back to the streets. The sun set over the city, reflecting off the tower's windows. Inside his office, Michael Carter reviewed his empire's expansion. The betrayal meant to break him had instead created an institutional force for retribution. His personal pain had become a global network of justice and consequences. Victoria and Ethan remained trapped in the prisons he had built for them, their destruction serving as an eternal warning to others who might consider similar betrayal. Their lives continued only as testimonies to his power and the price of crossing him. The Carter name, once nearly destroyed by their schemes, now represented implacable justice and ruthless protection. Michael had transformed their betrayal into an empire, their treachery into a legacy of power and retribution. As night fell, Michael stood at his office window, his reflection hard and unforgiving. They had tried to break him, but instead he had broken them, completely, permanently, and without mercy. His empire stood as testament to the consequences of betrayal, his influence extending far beyond the personal revenge that had spawned it. In their separate cities, Victoria and Ethan prepared for another night of isolated existence, unaware that their brother's power grew with each passing day. Their destruction had become a foundation for his success. Their betrayal transformed into an institutional force that would outlast them all. The Carter Foundation's influence continued to expand, its methods becoming more sophisticated, its reach more global. Michael's personal vendetta had evolved into a legacy of power, protection, and merciless justice. The man they had tried to destroy had become a force that destroyed others. His revenge transformed into an empire built on the ashes of their betrayal. And in his tower, Michael Carter maintained his vigilance, his resolve unchanged by time. They had taught him the true nature of family and trust. He had taught them, and the world, the true cost of betrayal. The price would be paid forever, their destruction serving as an eternal monument to his power and the consequences of crossing Michael Carter. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.